All right, welcome to part 2, class 2, landscape painting from beginning to end. We're about to step up to the easel here and really start playing with color. I'm just kind of looking through my list of things I wanted to cover really quickly, and I want to do a quick little 5-minute show and tell right quick. Just gonna move this over and I'm gonna do share screen one more time. Actually, I need to bring up the folder that I want to share. So let's see, where is that on there? It's not showing as an option. Where is that screen? Okay, do you guys now, well, you see all the stuff about Zoom on there. Do you guys see my cursor moving around a whole bunch of Tuscany pictures here?
Yes.
Okay, so this is a commission that I'm working on now, and I'll show you guys the paintings in just a little bit.
Did you want to start your recording?
I believe I did, yes.
Oh, sorry.
Nope, you're good. Thank you for double checking. Way more important. So this is the client's kitchen. Hopefully it's okay that I'm sharing this. But anyways, I'm going to be doing a painting for this location over here, and then where these paintings are as well. So they sent me this picture of their kitchen. So what I did was I quickly went through, and just like I said that my daughter likes doing, I made a color chart of kind of the big colors that I saw. Can everybody see that at the bottom there? Probably make it bigger. So there's kind of what my idea of the colors that I thought maybe would be good to have in the paintings. It's a Tuscan style house. So they wanted some Tuscany style paintings, but they wanted them very rustic, not just kind of idealized Tuscany, but more of a farm, rural setting of Tuscany. So it's been a fun project, and they've been great to work with. But the colors we ended up coming up with, because they ended up sharing their stonework that's over the fireplace and everything else. They even shared some of their favorite paintings, at least color-wise, that they really liked. So then I was able to go through and pull out a really advanced color palette. So this is one that I made up myself, grabbing colors from the stones, from the paintings, from their kitchen, and everything else. You guys can see that okay? I turned it sideways so that I could see it bigger from where I'm standing at my easel.
Wow.
And so this is for 2 paintings. And you can see that they liked a lot of my paintings. They actually, that's why they contacted me, was to buy some paintings. But instead we decided to do a commission and work together. But they didn't want my really, really, really vibrant glowy golds. They thought they were too bright. They also didn't want super nothing is too vibrant. Everything is a little bit subdued. So it's interesting when I'm working with designers, like when I do work for hotels or libraries or restaurants or whatever, it's always interesting to work with the designers. And I do have an advantage that I'm coming from an illustration background. So I've been a hired painter, a hired gun is what I call myself, for a long time. You know, I started off doing that, of painting other people's pictures, you know, their ideas, and bringing them to life. So I don't mind doing this. A lot of artists are just kind of like, I don't do commissions because I don't, want to use their color palettes. I don't want to, all of the stuff that goes into it. But I actually kind of like it. I enjoy having limitations. I find sometimes adding limitations to my work makes me more creative. Sometimes that's, having a limited palette makes my work more creative. So the pictures that they were excited about of mine was this one. And again, they just thought these yellows and stuff were too vibrant. They also, this is the one they wanted to buy, but it had already been sold. But they also wanted it to be kind of have a Tuscan feel. So, there's not a lot of pine trees and stuff. So, it was neat to have these different images so that we could share notes and get closer in. Leave without saving. Oh, cancel. So anyways, I was using those color charts from Pinterest and things and just running them by them. Like, are there colors on here that are getting closer? No. Okay, let's pull up another chart. So you can use this again as a way just to test of, I got to stop double clicking it, just single click it. I apologize. And you can see these different colors. So that literally over the phone, over FaceTime, or actually Zoom, just like we're doing now, I was able to go through and just kind of go yes, no. Then they sent me more of some close-ups of the paintings, different colors that they really like. They sent me some of their upholstery, even some of their lighting systems and stuff. So I could just see the metal work. It's been an interesting and fun project. Then coming up with the design, I showed them a whole bunch of pictures of Tuscany. How do I even make this bigger? There we go. And basically they decided they really liked the foreground of that one painting that they wanted to buy. So we used the foreground of that. And then I just literally, this is probably 20 different photos and different things that I just kind of superimposed over each other to just kind of get an idea of combining images and just say, is this kind of what you're feeling? Like, you know, get rid of those pine trees, add in a road, add in more cypress trees. But I used all of this as just a way to communicate and to get on the same page. The other picture, this is another composite of about 5 photos from our trips to Italy and stuff. So this corner foreground is one photo, middle is another photo. These, you know, I'm okay at Photoshop, okay enough to at least be able to share the ideas. But and then basically just kind of coming up with these designs. And this is what I was scared to show them, because I was going to go back and redraw all of this. But you can see where I'm kind of thinking, how does the eye move through the painting? You know, where do I want my lights, my darks, everything else? The other image, same thing. But luckily there's like, you know what, we like this design. We understand what you're trying to convey with this crazy hodgepodge of, you know, these are just notes. You can see how messy when I'm just thinking of the design, when I'm just mixing images and all of that can be. And so, yeah, I just wanted to share that. Just hopefully that makes sense, you guys. I do come again from an illustration background, so I have kind of this not innate, but you know, something I've worked on a long time is just combining images. That's why my #1 rule literally on my wall is, what is your light source? Because that is what will tie everything together. What is the light source? You know, trying to figure out, is it a hot direct sun? Is it a cool, soft, maybe slightly overcast day sun? Is it, you know, what is the light? That is what ties everything together. So as you're going forward, and Sandy, you know, you're adding deer in, and everybody, you know, a lot of people are moving trees around and changing. You have to, that is your #1 rule. Write it in all caps. Maybe take up half your sketch pad here, your writing paper. What is my light source, or where is my light source? And that is the tie, that is the key, that is the tie that will bring everything together. Everything needs to be in that same world, affected by the same thing. So if it's a cool blue day, everything is cool and blue. It's all affected the same. If it's sunset, everything's being affected by the sunset. What's the angle of the light? What's the temperature of that light? Does that make sense, you guys? All right, so taking that, let's jump up to the easel, and everybody is seeing the easel, and make sure that I'm am I staying? Can somebody else talk, and let's just see if it stays on me for a second.
I just have to tell you guys that in about a half an hour, all hell's going to break loose at my house, and I'm going to have to duck duck off in a hurry. I've got 3 grandchildren and a rug delivery. So I will see you next week because I'm going to leave in a hurry.
Okay, well, thank you, Cheryl, and we'll have the last half hour recorded for you to tune in when you get a chance.
Okay.
And you get a little breathing room from all those crazy little rugrats. There you go.
Well, they're bigger than rugrats now.
Oh,
They're
okay.
The twins are 13 and the other one's 12, and they're busy, but they're going to help me with my outside work before winter.
Perfect. All right. Well, have fun with them. Yeah, great. Anyways, it looked like it stayed on me. Did it stay on me while Cheryl was talking?
Yes.
Perfect. All right, great. Because I did notice in the recordings last week, I did a pin, and it did not seem to stay on me. So hopefully, I apologize for that. Hopefully this time you guys are free to ask questions and talk while I'm painting and give me feedback. But at least hopefully it'll stay on the painting. All right, I'm just going to go ahead and leave from the computer and step up to the paintings. All right, so I did one additional wipe away painting this morning, just using Venetian red and Indian yellow. Just to kind of see, and that way I have a full page here. And I thought I actually might start by going into the ones that are already a little colored up. So I can move those up a little bit here. And then I added a scratch piece of paper over here, which is actually just a piece of canvas taped to a board here. And so that I could experiment with it. So the primary color here is kind of a dirty Indian yellow. So I can just kind of put a little bit of that over here if I want, if I'm not positive what color. And I remember it has a little bit of brown mixed in with it. So let's just kind of make a mixture of that. Kind of got that color as well, which is really nice. Get these interesting transition colors. Does seem to have a little bit of a tiny bit of red maybe in there as well. So let's just add that. I know this is pretty far away from the camera, but hopefully you'll get a sense for it, or I can move the camera. It'll be wobbly. So now what I want to do is test maybe some colors that might go with this a little bit. I'm kind of thinking like bringing in some dirty greens. So let's just go ahead and I'm just going to grab my manganese blue here. My brush is still dirty, so it's got some of that Indian yellow and some of that brown in there. Let's mix some Indian yellow with that, which will make kind of an interesting greenish color. But it is, I do know that it's, that those are both fairly transparent colors. So I could either add a touch of my cadmium yellow, which will make it a little more opaque, meaning it'll have a little bit coverage. I'm going to add a little bit of red because it's already too green, I can tell. The red is the color across from the green on the color wheel. It's getting quite dark, so I'm going to add a tiny bit of yellow ochre. But anyways, I'm looking at my reference, I'm looking at these colors. Let's just see what that looks like. Quite dark, but I think it could work, especially in the shadowy areas. Let's mix a little more yellow ochre with that.
What brown was the first Indian yellow mixed with? Was it the red?
I really am not totally positive. I think it's probably a burnt umber.
Okay.
Yeah, these are a lot of the colors that I was using last weekend, so I'm trying to kind of save them.
Okay.
So when you do that, I always run out of the color.
Yeah, I should be mixing a bigger pile, but that's why I'm verbalizing it too, so that when I kind of figure out what I want to do, I'll mix a bigger pile.
Okay.
Yeah, that's paint like you're rich is a saying you'll hear a lot in workshops and classes. Especially if you want to paint more impressionistically or thicker, it's really useful. So I'm seeing it and I like it, and I might test it on my painting here. And I'm just going to kind of bring some but it's pretty dark. I might want to lighten it up a little bit. But it's kind of nice. I love how dirty olivey greens and stuff play against the warm, transparent browns and reds. So I already know that and that's why I kind of wanted to start here, because I already know some color palettes that I really like and that are, that sell well or show well or whatever verbiage you want to use here.
Well, that is pleasing from here.
Oh, good. Yeah. And that's, yeah, I always have liked that. And I'm not pushing very hard. So I'm letting some of the speckling of the light of the color that's underneath it show through a little bit. And that's something you can't do wet into wet. So sometimes, for different effects in paint, it's imperative that I let the layers dry a little bit. A lot of effects I can only do wet into wet, blending in really well, softening edges are easier wet into wet. Let's bring a little more blue into that because I have a warm background. So maybe it gets a little cooler as it comes towards us. So I just added a little bit of ultramarine to that mixture, which is a reddish blue. You can see how useful it is to have this little color chart over here where I'm testing and I'm like, yeah, those are gorgeous together. Those are really interesting colors with that warm orange. And I don't have that warm because this is a more contaminated color, just because we did that wiping away method to get to it. Let's bring a little bit of that color down into the reflections. But yeah, I like that already. So I'm pretty happy. I'm going to make it so these trees are a little cooler so they fall back a little more. I want this tall tree to be the tree that's coming closest to me. So I'm just going to make kind of a slight gray. So I'm going to grab some of my blues. This color here is not on my palette very often. That's called King's Blue. And it's just kind of a nice grayed down, slightly purplish blue.
Is that King's Blue gambling?
No, I don't know who made this.
Is that the French King's Blue?
Called King's Blue Deep, and it's by Michael Harding.
Okay.
So yeah, it's a color I don't use very often, but it sure is nice because it really leans towards grayish color in a way. So I'm actually using it in those paintings that I was just showing you that I'm doing for the client to cool and push down a lot of colors to push them back into space. So that's why it's on the palette. I'll go ahead and use it. It sure feels very, very cold on here. So I'm maybe gonna change it a little bit. Maybe I'll add some elements of that, but I want it a little darker. So I might just grab a little bit of brown. Again, it's kind of a reddish brown that I added, so it will calm that color down, gray it down a lot. So let's see now. There we go. Should have tested it over there on my little color chart. It's very blue, and so I can literally, because it's on top of a dry painting, I can actually take my Q-tip and kind of just lightly pick up parts of that so it's not so vibrant, and it'll kind of blend it into that background color a little bit. So it'll still cool those colors down. There we go. That feels a little more naturalistic, a little more friendly. Now I've got this tree that's coming forward a little bit, so I could still use some of those colors. I'm just going to slightly darken them, add a little more of the ultramarine. And we're going to do a lot more experimenting up here. I just want to show you kind of how, even when I'm doing these wipe away paintings, even when they've got, quite a bit of color, I can still kind of come in and cover over the top. You can grab some of that color that's in the trees and use that to darken parts of the bank so that there's harmony. And there we go. But what I want to do now is I'm going to take and I want to bring some reds in there to play off the cools. I'm just going to grab a little bit of my quinacridone, which is a real transparent red, and I'm just going to bring little hints of that onto the edges here.
Honey's microphone is open.
Scrub that in a little bit. Feels a little maybe too warm. And again, that's why we're doing these little color studies, so I could test that. So again, because it's on a dry painting, I can just take a lot of that down, just pick it up with my paper towel, or if it was on there thick, I could use my palette knife. There's a lot of back and forth with oils that I just love, as I'm just kind of testing things out. I think that that sky could actually be quite a bit brighter. I'm going to see what that looks like. I'm going to take my Indian yellow and mix it with white. And just make the sky at least lighter in portion of it. Where do I want my light? I'm going to put my light right about there.
Is white the only way to really lighten things up, or could you use like a pale yellow or something else?
Yeah, great question. Yeah, I try to not use white as often as possible. Like that's why I use the King's Gray or King's Blue to kind of lighten my blues and stuff. White, you've got to think of it like a temperature, like a color, and that it's going to cool things down. So if I want to make, you know, a really warm background color, I've got to be aware that the white is actually, I mean, you can see the difference from here to here. It's lighter, but it's cooler than down here. So yeah, I've got to be aware of that. A lot of times if you can get away with lightening with yellow or any other thing, you know, but you've got to think of what's the temperature. There we go. Little tiny color study, just kind of seeing, you know, if these initial concepts, if that works for me. I'm going to zoom in the camera, so if you get seasick when the camera moves, sorry. Trying to make it so it's not too glary on there, but yeah, I like that. Like that's an interesting color palette. It's, you know, not super complicated. It's got greens, blues, reds, yellows. So I guess it's got, you know, all of it, but they're all, there's not a pure color on there. Everything is muted down slightly. All right, moving the camera again. It's funny how it gets wobbly looking, like it's watery when I move it. All right, so this painting already has kind of a color scheme going. There's the pink in the sky, there's some green. What if I brought in some, well, yeah, what do you guys think here? We're going to be painting by committee a little bit today. I was almost thinking of bringing some grays down, but we're going to have a lot of that in these other ones. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we can even ignore this one for a second.
What about some turquoise?
Some turquoise. You want to see what happens? All right. So if I actually just put turquoise on there, it's going to be very, very bright. So I can take the turquoise as a concept. And personally, I'd probably want to gray that down. So I'm just going to take a tiny bit of my ultramarine blue. And I'm going to actually take probably a little bit of yellow, which is going to green it down even more, and a touch of red. So this should really neutralize this color. So it's turquoise, but not the pure version of it. So let's just go ahead and put a little area of that over here and just see. I'm going to want to lighten it because it'll be very dark there. So add a little white to it. So you can see it's a very grayed down turquoise. So let's remove this one. With my dirty paper towel, so I'm spreading paint around. Let's see now if that plays a little more friendly with this pink. It does, but it's still so vibrant compared to that pink. So let's mix a little more white with it. It's just feeling a little dark. So constantly just kind of asking, what can I do with this paint to make it play? And I could just change all the colors on here. I don't have to be, because the painting is dry. But let's see if there we go. And is that kind of where you were thinking the turquoise might go, is in the upper portion of the sky?
Yeah.
That's better.
Yeah, it feels a little more in control. And lighten it as it gets down. I'm going to add a little reds for a transition colors, so it'll be kind of a purpley color as it gets down to more of that red. Add a little more red to it. Transition, tiny bit more white, lighten it up even more. Still feeling that turquoise is a little strong, so I'm just going to try wiping it back a little bit.
What if you add a little Payne's gray to it?
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm thinking I might do. Getting a little
think
stripey
so.
now, so
I like that now. That's good. That looks better.
Yeah, I like that
that
too.
feels very
Yeah.
stripey to me. But yeah, that's what's so nice. And here, I'll show you something real quick. Just gonna grab my paper towel, just ripped off a little piece. I'm just gonna take a little bit of paint thinner to it, and I'm just going to change my mind. So I felt like I was being a little too slavish to the kind of clouds and hints of things. So let's just paint over it. Let's just make a new sky. We'll use the same light source and things, but let's use that idea, the turquoise. Let's add a bit of, I guess that's probably Payne's gray. Yeah, Payne's gray to it. Well, let's make a little bit of a pile so we actually have some paint. So I got my turquoise. I'm going to mix Payne's gray, quite a bit of white, because I know that would be way too dark up in that sky. Maybe a little more turquoise. Looks very turquoise on the camera. I'm gonna make another pile just below it, getting towards the pinks. Mix those colors together. Love quinacridone and the cobalt teal together. Here, I'll show you what they look like together in purity without the Payne's gray. So you got your cobalt teal, which is a gorgeous color, but I never get to use it because I don't paint that brightly. Mix, I'm going to put a bit of the quinacridone red over here, and I'm just going to bring it across. Oops, I wanted to make it into a pink. So the quinacridone red mixed with white is a really vibrant, bubblegummy, beautiful pink. I'm going to grab that over here and watch the beautiful fuchsias that happen in between where they meet.
So does the turquoise on the left have any white in it at all?
Doesn't know.
Okay, thank you.
But yeah, beautiful. I mean, this could be a whole painting unto itself, just using those two colors and white, and maybe a little, maybe you could use the Payne's gray or. So let's remember this color palette and we'll come back to it.
Would the purple help it maybe? As a dark?
The purple that's in here,
No, I was thinking of the,
dioxazine purple.
yeah,
Yeah, I don't have it. It's not a color I use very often. Yeah, I mean, we could see if we can do that. Let's get some.
That's lovely colors. Ooh.
yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna change this whole palette, but you know what? Why not? It's just these are all for experimenting on. So let's. You guys want to see what happens if I make this into this?
Yeah.
Okay. You're like, yeah, we don't care. It's not our painting. Let's do it.
I like that much better.
Yeah, that's much, much better.
Me too, me too, me too.
The first color's really,
Screamed.
yeah. They just didn't fit.
Agreed. So that is a big benefit to, sometimes painting over old paintings that I don't care about. I can just go crazy because I can, try something, I can wipe it off if it doesn't work. Having a nice dry oil painting sometimes is such a little bonus.
Which is the one that you started this morning?
This one here.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Yeah, I don't know. It's, very, very wet, so I can still paint into it because a lot of times I start my paintings and they do wet into wet. I'm just so far still just using quinacridone and the teal color.
Yeah, I really like that.
Yeah, it's a lot
Yeah,
more
that's very
subtle.
pretty.
So yeah, sometimes having a super limited palette, just two colors, and you could use a dark and a light. Man, let's see if we can get away with that. What if I just used Payne's gray, teal, quinacridone, and white? Let's see. So I'm thinking these trees, and I make them a little darker. So I got my manganese. I'm gonna make them red. My instinct is to go blue, or maybe even just a dark, dark purple. Yeah, maybe a dark purple. Don't want them this dark, probably. It's almost black. So I'm gonna add a touch of white and just see what happens. I don't have to add it to my whole pile, you guys. I can just add it to a little section of it so that I retain that dark color just for when I want it. I just love doing this of like, oh, okay, I got this nice dark purples, but what if I decided to lighten it and go towards a little blue as well? Like, so they're all relating. I'm constantly making these bands of color. It felt like it was going to be so much darker than that. A little Payne's gray just to darken it, keep a lot of that same color, just kind of darkening it a little more. Payne's gray is not very strong. There we go. But again, these are just not colors I would have thought to do, but because I'm playing and just seeing what I can get away with, maybe, or maybe this is for a future painting. I'll have this idea in the back of my head. Those are really bright here, so I'm just going to wipe that off and bring it with a more grayed down version. Yeah, and for some of you guys, you're getting excited by these colors. Others of you are like, oh, now it just got too garish. And that's the fun of it. You can test, test your tastes, right? Darker purple that I had, I can use that up here. All right, let's make the ground go. I'm gonna have both purple and pink in the ground, or blue, purple, pink.
I love that hint of sunlight behind the trees.
Oh, good. Let's see if it survives.
Okay.
All right, so I'm gonna start leaning in towards these pinks that I had over here. Let's see, I am totally kind of scared and I have no idea if this will work or not. Probably even get a little more, tiny bit more vibrant maybe than that. Again, I'm just testing, seeing can this painting handle this? Can this painting handle this? Do these colors play well together, either for this painting or for a future painting? And I mean, truthfully, I could still probably wipe a lot of this off, but it is a little bit of a sacrificial lamb too. I'm just getting knowledge. I'm just testing. So that's what's great about these little value studies, these little paintings, is I can just experiment. I'm just not too worried about any of it. And I can just have some fun. Right? I would not do this on a great big painting. I would not do this on a commission. I would not do this on a painting when I'm, do paintings at the gallery and I don't have a whole lot of time to experiment. So this is fun. This is liberating. This is me playing, learning, experimenting. with these cool colors, it felt like maybe it's a little foggier than it just had it. So let's soften some of these edges, create some color transitions back there so it feels like there's kind of a bank of fog. Maybe I'll bring in a little lighter color even along the ground. Again, I just don't know. But yeah, having this like waking up this morning or even looking at this last night and thinking about the class and stuff, I was just excited because there's so many opportunities, so many options just to play and experiment, and nothing is so important that I can't sacrifice it for learning. Sorry, these are too warm, so I got to cool them down a little bit. There's little spaces in the trees, and leave little hints of that red, but it's too strong. So I'm gonna cool them down a little, bringing in some of what I kind of perceive to be some of the colors that might be back behind them a little. Bring a little band of fog into here as well.
I love it. I think it's beautiful.
Good.
It really is.
And I
Right.
love the fog effect. That's perfect.
Yeah, and I owe it all to whoever gave me the crazy and what I thought was probably a horrible idea to add some turquoise to it. I mean, I would not have done that with that underpainting, but I'm having a blast. It's really, it's exciting for me just to watch this and just to think, oh, I mean, if you would ask me starting with that reference, ending up here, it would have been a real long shot for me to even imagine it. But it's through these different iterations, at least now it's even a possibility.
It's fun to watch it evolve, all of them evolve.
Exactly. I'm in a trance. It's just I never would have thought those colors would have worked on that because it was so beautiful to start out with. And then now you've made it something even more beautiful, and it's different, and it's something I haven't seen you do really.
You and me both.
It's an adventure.
Who recommended turquoise? Who was that mean, crazy person in this class that recommended turquoise?
Tim,
Wonderful. What a great idea you had.
What a
well,
great
thank
idea,
you.
right? Yeah. I mean, makes me just kind of keep wanting to come in and lighten these even more, just to really bring that fog in.
Do you ever think something is so beautiful it just makes you want to cry? That's how that's how I feel about this painting. It's so pretty.
Thank you. Great.
It's just beautiful, but somewhere inside of my head is screaming, green. I need some green.
Yeah, well, we've got plenty of options for green here. We're just going to keep this one super limited, I think, for now. We can always come back in. And I definitely could. And there actually is little patches of green. You probably just can't see it, but from the painting that was underneath it. But
Do you
Well,
think after it dries, you might maybe give a hint of the golden or the light yellow on kind of in the background a little bit,
I mean, there's a touch
like
of
on the field?
here.
Yeah,
So let me get my Q-tip. I actually accidentally covered that up in the water. Just hit it with a little paint thinner.
Well, at certain times of the day, everything green turns these colors, all of these pinks and blues. And I get up early every day to see it, even though now sunrise is almost at 7 o'clock. But it's absolutely, though, that's a sunrise. And it's a sunset in the east in the evening. They actually just flip colors.
Oh, that's really weird. Yeah,
Yeah.
our sunsets always feel warmer, and our sunrises here in Oregon, because of all the moisture, always feel very purple and cool. So it's definitely in the fog. We don't get fog in the evenings as much. Fog in the mornings all the time. So I actually agree with Michelle. I'm going to bring in it's a cooler yellow.
I like that.
That really pops.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna unpop it because I want it to be a little foggy. So I'm gonna soften it.
Yeah.
Michelle, this is the same advice you gave me when we were at the coast this weekend.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
That's the same advice you gave me at the coast this weekend on the painting I was demoing out there. I just need you around whenever I'm to the part of where I'm adding sunlight.
Okay.
That's funny. Don't you remember that? When you're just like, can you maybe that sun should be a little diffused and you should have that.
Oh, yes, I do remember that.
Right. So yeah, I like that a little bit. I just kind of softened it. It's not all pink. It has this little hint of all right. Well, I spent a lot longer on that one, but it's kind of fun. Yeah, I mean, that is a whole new color palette for me. That's interesting. And I've always loved that where these guys meet up. See if there's enough paint left I can grab to put up some examples of that color here. Just so I can, this will be a useful little color chart for later of ideas and experiments. Just in case I sell these little guys.
Sure you will.
Don't you think you need to do something in the front right corner of that painting?
Like put a little sold sign.
Well,
Yeah.
no, it's very far right from my perspective. It's still that kind of brown.
There. Sold.
That's on our left.
Oh, that's my left too. I don't actually tell me, was that Tamara?
That's Kim.
It's Kim. So
Yeah.
what were you saying?
So in the very far right corner, from my perspective, it looks like it's kind of unfinished there a little bit.
It is unfinished. Yeah, it's very loose and nothing much going on. Let's get some darks a little bit, bring some dark, get it into some of these purples. Yeah, the truth is I just kind of wanted you to skim past that to get, I wanted the darks to come forward, but maybe it does needs to probably relate to that fog a little bit. Not loving what I'm doing right now. That was just kind of not very well thought out. Some marks.
Better.
And I think that actually, I can bring this fog down just a tiny bit lower in here. Yeah, sorry, I thought I would be, covering all these paintings. But I'm going to show you, for those of you who can hang out for a little bit. I want to at least get some more paintings covered.
Thank you. I need to leave, but I'll watch the video.
Okie dokie.
That is beautiful.
All right, something like that. Something like that. Cool.
Amazing.
All right. So for those of you who haven't been with my class before, I'll show you one thing that's really neat about these. No, I'm just gonna go ahead and clean off all the colors that I've mixed. Just make myself a fresh mixing area. I just use a glass scraper on a piece of glass. And then now all I have to do is come through and wipe it down, and I've got a new nice big mixing area. Move this dollop of Payne's gray back over there. All right, so what's nice about these is I'm just going to take a tiny bit of paint thinner. I'm going to mix it with Indian yellow for the first one, so it's so easy. Which one of these do you think we should have as kind of a Indian yellow background?
The middle one,
Yeah, that one,
the middle one.
The middle
one.
vertical.
that one.
Middle vertical, this one.
Yeah.
Do you want a warm sky or warm water? Warm sky.
What do you guys think?
Well, we already got one that's really warm right beside it.
Yeah, I was thinking warm water.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's do warm water. Just so it's in relation to that. So with oil paints that are very translucent, transparent, this is what's so nice with the acrylic paints. So I could just quickly just say, you know what, this is going to have an overall feeling kind of this color. I can still come in and paint it all up. But it's really nice that I can just say, okay, that one's that. The one beside it is going to be more of a reddish sky.
Ooh, what red is that?
Quinacridone.
Oh, wow, that's
So crazy looking.
With that Indian yellow, the color underneath, then it blends and kind of makes it look green where it's supposed to, which is also kind of handy.
Yeah, isn't that interesting? And this one will turn to purple because the grays are just dark blues, basically. I mean, so many black paints are the blacks, so many, yeah, black paints, both in acrylics and oils, feel like dark blues.
Wow.
All right, let's do a nocturne up here.
I love that. It's super cool.
Yeah, and the great thing is it's just like I'm just creating kind of a base color. I'm gonna come back in and paint right over the top of it.
You could also wipe away some of that color, correct?
Yeah, I'm gonna do that here in just a second. I'm just gonna get these three going and then I'll play with all of them kind of at the same time.
This one.
So using this, simple reference already right now, it's just like I'm dyeing Easter eggs, but
That manganese blue?
what's that?
What color blue is that?
It was
Manganese.
manganese and whatever the dirty brush, so it wasn't a very pure manganese blue. I thought it would be a little more vibrant than that. But yeah, so now I can kind of come through and pick out, let's either lighten or, down here where I'm in the cools, I know I'm probably not going to have as much of that color in the shadows. Being lazy and being cheap and just keep trying to use these dirty towels as opposed to just getting some clean towels.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm out of here. I will look at this as soon as it's up and we'll talk to you next week.
All right, good
Have
luck
a good one.
with your new rug.
Thanks. Bye.
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 Michael, it's been a pleasure. I'm thrilled to be back watching this again.
Oh, good. I'm glad having you back. I'm glad you're feeling all right.
Yep. Yep. beautiful, just beautiful.
And just, it's fun, you know what I mean? We're just literally playing.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that you are able to feel that joy of just experimenting, pushing paint. Remember what it was like to be a kid, and we're just kind of discovering together. And,
Yes.
and just remember that you can't mess these up. They're just little tiny quick sketches. I mean, you can mess them up, but who cares?
That's why I love watching you do them.
The knowledge is worth it. Like, even the more important knowledge a lot of times is, yeah, don't do that. Because then you know to not do it on a big painting, you know?
Right, right.
Takes the pressure off.
Right. I already got an idea for this guy. I want to do bright pink on that. It's kind of a grayed down blue.
Well, I'm gonna leave.
I think the other day we had this kind of foggy, very dismal day. My wife and I were going to the airport, and all of a sudden this band of pink just kind of showed through. I'm hoping I can make a bright enough pink with this. Where do I want it though? Just gonna bring it. But yeah, just seeing that grayish kind of ugly color just kind of went, oh wait, but I saw that recently. And I actually thought it was beautiful when it had another color to play with.
Have you ever just toned one with sap green?
I haven't. No, we should do it. But that's not what I saw out there. So I was just kind of experimenting with, I thought this somehow wasn't bright enough. I should have left it darker maybe. Maybe that's what I should do. Let's wipe this back down. Let's start again.
Okay. I like that, but you're right.
Doesn't have the contrast I was imagining. So let's hit it with even darker blue. Might be a reverse of the sky. I think when I was looking at it, the sky was darker actually towards the horizon because there was more clouds. And then it was once the sun kind of broke through the tops of the clouds. So let's bring a little bit of what colors from this brush. Let's bring some Payne's gray. Again, just experimenting, just kind of remembering, kind of going partly off memory. It's really dark. Let's go a little more King's blue. Still really dark. Let's add a little white. So you see how I just test it and then go, yep, that doesn't work. Then get away. I see so many of my students are like, that didn't work. Either did that. What? No, God, what am I doing? Just stop. You know, and they just keep putting it down when it's not working, obviously. And so when you find that the value, color, temperature, whatever it is, just stop. You're just testing the color. Just put down a little bit, see how it plays, see how it reads. Getting a little crazy here. Let's see. We can make our sky touch more lively instead of darker on top. Just a touch. So is that appearing a little bit darker towards the horizon, a little bit lighter
Yes.
towards the sky, or do I need to adjust that more? All right. Sorry, pink, coming back. Using that brush. Let's add a touch of yellow to that pink just to make it a little more on the peach side. That should show up a little stronger against the blue, I hope.
Won't turn green.
Probably. I'll just skim it across the top. I'm not gonna push down. So hopefully I've got enough paint on my brush. Maybe I'll add a little more paint. Good call. Let's see. Where do I want it? So, you know, a lot of times I like it to kind of reflect in the water. So I'm just gonna put it right on the top of this guy.
Ooh.
See how much more glowy it looks than when I had it over the light, because the values were the same. So now that the values are different, a little darker and a little lighter. So I was using color temperature, but because the values were so close, meaning the lights and the darks of the color, it really wasn't showing up as brightly or as somewhat exciting. It's not like, you know, punchy on the face exciting, but almost half like it, kind of like that.
Lovely.
Bringing back a little more of the gray at the top.
It does tell a story.
Let's tell a story. Yeah. And, you know, again, an experiment. Whether I'd ever want to paint that as a bigger image, I don't know. Probably not, but it was an image when I was out there. I was like, that's interesting. That's kind of fun. It's very minimal.
Going the middle of the
Sorry, I'm not able to hear you very well.
my internet's dying. You have eyeballs on the trees.
What's that?
I don't know if you'll be able to hear me, but the trees, the eyeballs, eyeballs glowing.
I'm sorry, Lisa. I think that's
Oh.
really, I don't think I can
I think
understand.
I think she's saying that the sky holes look like eyeballs.
Oh, the two dots?
Yeah.
The forest is always watching, Lisa. The forest always watching, always judging.
It is.
Should I write that as a quote?
Yeah. The forest judges.
Forest sees all, knows all. Yeah, so I don't know if that's picking up as green at all. I went with a very mild green just to play on top to get a little bit of light on those trees. Is it reading as green at all, or do I need to add a little more light to it?
It barely reads green for me.
Let's
If
see.
If I look at it on my phone, it reads green better. Yeah, that looks green.
Let's say that darker. You're going to take a touch towards red. Being so lazy, I'm trying to like, maybe I don't have to clean my brush that I used on a whole different painting. Nope, you do. Knock these eyeballs down a little bit. Judgy forest you.
Michael, are you working solvent free?
No, I do have some medium, especially when I'm cleaning my brushes. But yeah, I'm not using any medium or any solvent. What I did add a little bit when I did this glaze underneath.
That's very dramatic looking.
Yeah, there's something interesting about it. Man, we're doing some things that aren't the most comfortable for me. I do notice that my sky is kind of drooping down there. I could maybe straighten it out with my finger a little. Does it still look like eyes, Lisa? I guess I can ask somebody that I can hear.
Yeah.
Yeah, I might have to pick up a little brush here at the end and just kind of move some paint around so I don't have big shapes there as much. All right, well, that's, you know, that's weird, but it's cool. I actually like it. I think if I saw this in a, you know, somebody else had painted it, I would be kind of like, that's pretty neat. The fact that it's me makes it feel a little weird, but I also don't use blue very often. I mean, I use blue all the time, but I don't leave blue paintings. So it's kind of nice. It's very much got that. Yeah, I like that. All right, so what did we ask? Forest green or
Sap green as a.
yeah, that could be gorgeous. Let's see if I have some sap green laying around here. I've got Italian green umber. I've got chrome oxide green, which looks like a very strong green.
Are any of them transparent?
Sap green. I can't tell because they're all in. So my chrome oxide green says it's transparent, but it's quite strong green. Here's my sap green, which should be a little more on the yellow side. Doesn't say if it's transparent, but I know
Sap green. Yeah, sap green is transparent.
Italian green umber.
That is interesting.
Semi-transparent. So yeah, that's a real, I mean, it doesn't even read as green on the camera. It reads almost like a ochre color.
Pretty color.
Yeah, should we try both of them?
Sure.
You guys don't care about my paintings at all.
No, we're interested in the outcome.
Okay. Yeah, like experimenting on paintings is fun as long as it's not ours.
Right. No, you actually make me want to paint all of those and try what you did.
Good.
Which is kind of our homework, right? Doing color studies.
It is. Yes, ma'am, it is.
Very much. Yeah. Your homework is to, yeah, just, and yeah, have fun. I mean, it could be, so this is the sap green, which is going to be much, much greener. Should we do it on
Yeah, that one.
that one?
Yeah, you don't have a lot of sky there, so it shouldn't mess up the sky much.
Well, it's got a whole lot of water reflection though. I'm almost wondering if
Mm.
let's do it. Ah, stop thinking, just do. My daughter used to have this friend that always said that. Stop thinking, just go whenever we played games.
That's really pretty.
Yeah.
I want to hear like Kermit the Frog start singing now. Rainbow Beaver.
It ain't easy being green.
Ain't easy being green. Look at that. That is very Kermit the Frog. Yeah, it's kind of wonderful. So, what is the opposite of green?
Red.
Red. It's going to be very interesting. Yep, that's green.
It's green.
That's not so bad.
Little much algae in the creek there.
Yeah.
What's that?
Better.
Too much, a little too much algae in the lake.
Do not drink the swamp water.
No, don't even walk in it.
A lavender, a really pretty lavender would be fun on that.
Yeah, are you thinking in the sky or on top of the grass?
I'm thinking in the sky and then reflecting in the water.
Okay. And
Like
here,
a lilac.
Here is the Italian green umber.
Oh,
Oh wow.
oh, that's a nice tone list.
Right? Yeah.
Umber is the operative word.
Yeah, but it's such a transparent for an umber.
I know, I love it.
That's an interesting color.
What's it called?
It's called Italian green umber, and it's made by the Michael Harding Paint Company.
Hmm.
I am very curious what to do with this color. Besides not drink the swamp water again.
Yes.
Let's try bringing that down into here. I'm just gonna scumble it really lightly because this painting is still quite wet. I'm just gonna see what happens if I bring that across on the grasses over the reds.
Oh, nice.
Can you see that okay?
Yeah, I see that.
Would you say that upper right one would be a mid key or a low key?
Right now, it would be kind of a mid key because it's shiny to you on the camera. There's no darks because of that shine. But for where I'm standing, it's a little more on the low key. If I change the angles of those brush strokes to get rid of the glare here in just a second, we'll see what you think.
And what color are you painting on right now?
Just that umber that we put up here. That
Okay. Same one. Wow.
nice against that rust red. They're both such
Yeah.
dirty. You know, it's like a dirty red and a dirty green.
Interesting. Thank you.
Yeah, basically it didn't really add color. It just darkened the red. It's such a weak color. I almost want to put it into the sky. Yeah, let's use it as a dark. Let's see what happens there. I'm out of it, so let me squeeze out just a touch more. Again, that's what we're doing here. We're just experimenting. I mean, I got so many tubes of paint that I never open because I don't know what they do. And I never have time just to play and experiment with them. You know, there's so many. What happens if they have a green cool as my, does that work against this orange?
Exactly. Oh, it is. It is. That would be a nice green in the top of the sky. like where you put it in the early morning light. That's perfect.
Yeah, it's just kind of because the painting's so wet, I'm just kind of pulling off the paint underneath it, but kind of gets a feel for it, a little bit of an idea.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I like that. I'm gonna have to find a Michael Harding dealer.
Online for sure.
Okay. Is he in the US or in Italy?
I always think he's in the US.
Okay.
Nope, UK.
Oh, UK. Okay. Oh, well,
I like it. Okay, UK.
yeah.
Um, yeah, this green one seems like the most, these two I can make obviously fixed. This guy, so we were thinking, let's pull off a little more of that green, just so that it doesn't contaminate whatever we put on there as much.
What about King's blue and that green?
I was thinking Indian yellow.
It would
So
show
two,
like Indian yellow.
both you guys
Mm-hmm.
take that King's blue into the mountains. The King's Mountains here.
That's nice.
Yeah.
I think I like the idea of the, let's do a King's Gray, King's Blue, quinacridone red, purple, which is going to be quite glorious. A little more King's Blue.
And the mountains would be too far away to actually be reflecting in there, correct?
That's my hope. But yes, I think they, yeah. Yeah, I mean, you'd have to probably be laying at like a really low angle to see them.
That's
Yeah.
pretty.
Sometimes that's confusing to me.
All you have to do is go lay down by the water sometime, look at the reflection, and then just slowly start standing up and just watch how the things reveal themselves in the reflections, how they change. And, you know, if you can, then get up on something a little taller and see. And all of a sudden, it's just reflecting the sky mostly of all.
How pretty.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, that's really pretty.
Oh, good. Yeah, it's nice. put it down. Okay, that's too light. I just knocked that tree right out of there. So let's just still really light. So wipe that back. This Payne's gray that I have is a cheap students quality one, and it's playing in the big leagues right now with all these real paints. So I'm not used to having to add so much cheap. Well, Payne's gray can be really strong or really weak depending on the make and everything else. So anyways, just constantly having to adjust to the paint. We make paintings with the colors we have.
Lovely.
Now the green looks so fresh and vibrant, whereas before it just looked like everything was contaminated.
I know that makes a difference.
Yeah, and then having it as the keying in color is really interesting. How I can still see it through the mountain colors. I can still see it through the tree colors. Yeah, these are fun suggestions, you guys. Really, really testing the unknown.
Oh, that pushes it way back. Lovely. Oh,
I'm playing with, different types of mark making, different angles of the brush, different amount of paint. So when you're doing these exercises, when you're doing color studies or value studies, use that as your opportunity to, test different marks, test different ways of applying the paint. I could be using a palette knife because I want to learn how to use it. I'm not good at it, or I'm not comfortable with it. Done a couple good paintings or paintings I'm proud of, but mostly I just stay away from the darn tool. The truth is I don't like that many palette knife paintings by other people. So I'm kind of always a little bit conscious of that, but then there are some people that are just so good at it. Okay, so I've got, this is the color of the green. Let's see if we can mix it with yellow ochre. And I'm going to mix it with some of that sky color, because that's what we'll be getting into it. And letting the tops of the grasses warm up a little more than that dark green, but still retaining the dark green underneath it. All right, it's fun.
It's actually a very calm painting.
Yeah, greens are often considered a very calm color. Turquoises, greens.
Very tranquil.
Yeah,
mhm.
yeah, it's an interesting one. I might have to come back in and, well, maybe I'll just do it now. The this, well, I kind of like it. What do you guys think? So that's more, there's more King's Blue over here, and then I just kind of let it run out as I came across. But this kind of makes it feel like the hill is a little closer because the vibrancy is a little more, and it's catching a little more light. I don't know. Maybe I'll leave it.
I like it. Leave it.
Leave it.
Mhm.
Let's go back to our tonalist guy.
You know, that reminds me of a very old photograph, like a faded old photograph.
The green one or this one I'm
The
working on?
top one that you're working on, yeah.
Yeah.
But this green one is just, it's exquisite.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I'm liking this. I don't know what I'll do with it yet, but yeah, I don't want to keep you guys all day. We're all already over a half hour late. Let's do this pink one really quick and then we'll call it a day. That sound all right, guys?
Mm-hmm.
That sounds great. This is Lisa. I do just have a quick question about the green one.
Yeah.
I have the same question about how do you decide when something or how much of something is reflected in the water? Because I'm just confused by the tree. To me, the reflection seems closer, but it's maybe just me. But how close or far from the riverbank is that?
I'm trying to imagine that the base is right about there.
Oh, okay. I thought that was like shadow. Got it.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. What I can do too is kind of obliterate the top of the reflection so it doesn't feel as strong. You should probably do that with all this stuff here. Okay, what was I gonna do? I was gonna do
The red
this.
one.
Let's,
But if you're gonna record it, can we hang out?
what's the question?
If you're gonna record, are you gonna work on the two top ones after the red one?
Maybe I've got,
Okay, if you're not, but I'm saying if you were gonna continue and record for the class, could I hang out and just
Oh.
watch?
yeah, I suppose so. Yeah, I mean, I'll keep painting for a little bit.
But if you're not, if you have to go, of course,
Right.
I'll have to be an adult and grow and just say, okay, later.
Very mature of you.
Thank you. I'm trying. It's hard sometimes.
Just thinking pink and gray is such a nice little color combination. So I just made up, this is truly just Payne's gray and white, but it looks so blue next to that pink.
It does look blue.
A little darker towards the top.
Did you use the King's blue?
No, it's Payne's gray.
Just Payne's gray. Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
It looks so blue.
so blue because it's next to that pink. Yeah, all colors are relative. That's one of
Yeah.
the hardest parts about painting is that you really can't know what a color is going to look like until you get it on to the surface next to the other colors. And guess what's going on right now? My
That's-
grandma's having her 100th birthday,
Oh my goodness. Happy birthday.
celebrating with all her friends right now. And then we're going to have our big family one on Saturday. And it's been very fun and exciting time around here because I've got my cousin who is from Germany, but right now he's living in LA, staying with us with his two great big burly bulldogs, which my cat does not quite love. And then tonight, the big surprise, which my wife and daughter didn't keep as a big surprise, is that my daughter is gonna come home for my grandma.
How
her-
exciting.
So I'll get to see her since she went to school.
Is she still up and about, Michael?
My grandma? Oh yeah,
Yeah.
no, still lives in her own house.
Oh, wow. Alone?
Well, she actually takes care of my aunt.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
What a woman.
My aunt does live there with her. So no, they're very good. They help each other. My aunt does the driving and stuff.
Oh, good.
Tell her we all wish her a happy birthday.
Yes, we do. God bless her. Michael, you have longevity in your family. You'll be teaching past 100.
There you go.
Won't that be fun? He's not happy about that, is he?
Phone ringing and painty hands. I can't turn it off. There we go. And then my sister from Montana, who I never hardly get to see or not too often, just flew in last night, but I didn't get to see her yet. So it's going to be lots of fun. Relatives from all over the world coming in. I got to see my other cousin from Germany yesterday, and so it's great. The timing's a little rough as far as how busy my work is and everything with commissions and stuff, but I'll still take it.
Michael, that's beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure I love the cloud shapes. What I may just do is grab a big soft brush and let's just obliterate the top. So it's not as high contrast everywhere.
Perfect.
Pretty cool. All right, well, yeah, I guess let's get in to this tree. And I'll probably just keep this one a little more predictable. What color do we want our grasses? I almost kind of like them reddish.
I like them the way they are too, yeah. It gives it all a glow. It has this glow about it.
Let's neutralize them a little bit so they're not getting as much light. Ones that are kind of fading away a little bit. That'll make the areas that are glowing a little more special, hopefully.
Yeah, perfect.
And let's bring a tiny bit of light on top of that tree. What color do I want? Just thinking kind of a cold light coming down from above here. And then the warm light on the other side. Getting towards the warmer light on this side. little soft there, but remember, kids, don't paint with oil paints with your fingers. Gotta keep doing here. If you do, don't eat. You wash your hands. That's kind of fun. So how many did we get? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this guy, I mean, we could leave him that loose and whatever, but we got 1, 2, 3 still. But anyways, I kind of went a little bit crazy. These are all taking a little longer than I had really, absolutely intended, but I sure did have a good time doing it and taking them a little further than maybe I thought we were going to. But yeah, so I look forward to seeing your guys' experiments and seeing what it is that you guys kind of come up with as you're playing and trying all this out. And yeah, I mean, it doesn't have to be just transparent paint. You can use your opaque paint. You can, whatever it takes to get it covered, and just test a couple things that you think might work in your painting. And yeah, we'll share next week and see what we think of this idea of painting little color studies and just experimenting with all these different options that we have.
Michael, the green one, would you consider that high key? It's at least leaning towards high key.
Yeah, I mean, there's a dark band here.
Mhm.
It would be high key because there's nothing really light. Like if I put a dab of white paint on my brush and hold it up there, you can see how much lighter it could get.
Mhm.
I would say more mid to dark, mid to
Okay.
low. Yeah, it does get harder to kind of tell sometimes when it's kind of all kind of comes together. But yeah, good question. So that would be almost like a very harmonious, everything's in the warms, browns. It's kind of boring, but it's kind of an example of that. But yeah, I think I better go. I just heard the doors open up downstairs. Better go see who's getting here and what's going on. But I thank you guys for all your time today. I mean, literally, we almost went an hour long. So crazy. I'm just going to step back, kind of take a peek, and then I'm going to sit down at the computer and say goodbye to everybody.
Thank you so much, Michael.
Thank you guys. All
Thank
right.
you. Have a great visit and party and celebration. Thank you.
Thank you.
Happy birthday to your grandmother and have a great time with family. Thank you so much,
We will,
Michael.
for sure. Yeah.
Enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael.
Hello, everybody. I look forward to seeing your experiments and how the fun you guys have with color. And yeah, and then we'll get started on our final project. So start thinking about that, kind of which designs you like and what color schemes you might want to play with, and set up your Pinterest page. And see you guys in a week.
Can you switch back to the picture of the your paintings and stuff super fast,
Sure.
please?
Bye-bye. They're pretty, Michael. They're beautiful.
Perfect. Thank you.
Lots of different feelings up there. Awesome, you guys. Thank you all very, very much. I appreciate it. And I'll see you soon.
Okay.
Take care.